3. Canned soup, creamy or chunky, tomato or chicken noodle. The world of canned soup seems like a heart-healthy choice for busy days. And it's true that, on occasion, this can be a convenient, affordable meal. But for many seniors, all that goodness in a can comes with some very concerning ingredients. First and foremost is the sodium level. We're talking hundreds of milligrams per serving, sometimes reaching 900 milligrams or more in a single can. For someone with high blood pressure or heart failure, that's a fast track to fluid overload, swelling, and fatigue. It can push blood pressure too high, causing strain on the heart and triggering shortness of breath. For kidneys already working overtime to filter toxins and excess fluids, that additional sodium burden can be overwhelming, accelerating decline and worsening dialysis dependence. But it's not just about numbers. High sodium intake increases the need for urination, and as we age, frequent nighttime trips can disrupt sleep. Restless nights lead to daytime fatigue, making it harder to stay active, engage in hobbies, or enjoy visits from loved ones. That increased urination can also lead to dehydration, which takes a toll on joints, eyes, and overall energy levels. Plus, it stresses the body, making it harder to absorb important nutrients from food. Then there's the issue of the additives. Many canned soups, especially creamy or condensed varieties, contain excessive amounts of fats, preservatives, and artificial thickeners. These are often hard to digest, especially for seniors with sensitive stomachs or digestive issues like IBS. Ingredients like cornstarch and modified food starch are made from GMO sources and have unhealthy trans fats. Over time, these additives contribute to inflammation, potentially speeding up the risk of chronic diseases like heart disease and diabetes. Plus, for those concerned about gluten sensitivity or celiac disease, many traditional soups are made in shared facilities that process wheat and barley, leading to potential cross-contamination. This hidden danger lurks in some of our favorite flavors. My advice is simple, but maybe not as comforting as a warm bowl of soup on a cold day. Look for soups with fewer than 300 milligrams of sodium per serving. If possible, choose homemade or low-sodium broth-based soups. You can add your own veggies, beans, or lentils for extra fiber and nutrition. Or try slow cooker recipes that let flavors meld gradually without excess salt. While occasionally indulging in that can of Campbell's might not pose a big deal, making gradual changes to your diet can significantly improve your health and well-being. 4. Canned meats. When it comes to canned meats, it is important to draw a clear line between what is acceptable and what is risky for our health. Now, I'm not talking about canned fish like salmon or tuna packed in water. Those are generally safe options. No, I'm specifically focusing on processed meats that come from animals like pigs, cows, or chickens. Think items like potted meats, canned spam, chipped beef, or deviled ham. These types of canned meats may seem like convenient, economical sources of protein. And let's face it, they can be a nostalgic part of our culinary history. However, as we get older, it's crucial to be aware of the potential downsides. One major concern is the high sodium content. It's no secret that excessive sodium intake can lead to high blood pressure, heart disease, and kidney problems, especially in aging bodies that might be dealing with other health conditions. Canned meats tend to be packed in salt, brine, or sauces that are loaded with sodium, making them a potential trigger for those with cardiovascular issues. Another issue is the presence of preservatives and additives. Items like canned spam often include ingredients like nitrates and phosphates. These substances serve to extend shelf life and enhance flavor or texture, but they can be problematic, particularly for individuals with kidney or thyroid issues. Nitrates, for instance, have been linked to an increased risk of certain types of cancer. While the evidence might not be conclusive, it's wise to err on the side of caution, especially when it comes to the health of our older population. Canned meats also tend to be high in saturated and trans fats, which can contribute to clogged arteries and increase the risk of heart disease. And let's not forget about the potential contamination risks. Though it's rare, there have been cases where certain canned meats have been recalled due to the possibility of botulism contamination. This is a serious issue considering that botulism can be life-threatening, particularly for older adults whose immune systems might not be as robust. Choosing what we eat should be a source of enjoyment and nourishment, not worry and anxiety. And while canned meats may have held a special place in our pantries in the past, it's important to be aware of the potential health implications as we age. My advice is to opt for safer alternatives like canned fish packed in water, lean proteins, fresh or frozen meats, poultry, or beans. Remember, the goal is to maintain a balanced diet that supports our health and allows us to enjoy our golden years to the fullest. 5. Canned fruits packing a hefty dose of sweetness. Canned fruits may seem like a healthier alternative to their dried counterparts, but that can be deceiving. Many fruits commonly found in cans like peaches, pears, pineapple, and fruit cocktail are packed in heavy syrups or juices that are loaded with added sugars. This excessive sugar intake can lead to weight gain, increasing the risk of obesity-related diseases like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even certain types of cancer. It also contributes to dental issues, making it harder for seniors to enjoy the pleasure of biting into a juicy apple or crunching through some berries. But it's not just about the sugar content. The canning process itself can sometimes compromise the nutritional value of fruits. The heat used to sterilize the cans and the prolonged storage can break down vitamins and minerals, reducing the antioxidant capacity and overall health benefits. Canned fruits also run the risk of contamination. While the chances are slim, there have been instances where certain canned fruit products have been recalled due to the presence of harmful microorganisms. Now, let's talk about the impact of these cans on our environment. Most canned fruits come in aluminum cans coated with BPA, which is a chemical that can leach into the fruit over time. While BPA has been associated with various health problems, including reproductive issues, behavioral changes, and even certain types of cancer, more research is needed to establish a direct link. Nevertheless, for those who are concerned about minimizing chemical exposure, particularly in their food, opting for fresh or frozen fruits might be a better choice. In conclusion, while canned fruits may be convenient and affordable, it's important to consider the potential health implications of excessive sugar intake and potential chemical exposure. So for seniors looking to make informed choices about their diet, fresh or frozen fruits might be a safer, healthier option. 6. Canned vegetables. In today's world where convenience often trumps nutrition, it's easy to fall back on canned vegetables. They're widely available, long-lasting, and require minimal preparation. However, for many of us, particularly those in our senior years, there's a darker side to these seemingly innocent cans. One major concern is the sodium content. Canned vegetables, especially those labeled as low sodium or reduced salt, typically contain more sodium than many of us realize. Excessive salt intake can lead to dehydration, high blood pressure, and kidney problems, all of which can be more detrimental to seniors who may already be dealing with age-related health challenges. Additionally, the canning process itself can affect the nutrient profile of the vegetables. The prolonged heating and storage can break down vitamins and minerals, reducing their nutritional value compared to fresh counterparts. For instance, the vitamin C content in canned vegetables is often lower than in fresh ones. This is not only concerning for maintaining a healthy diet, but also for supporting the immune system, which tends to become weaker with age. But it's not just about what's inside the cans, it's also about what they're packaged in. Many canned vegetables are packed in BPA-lined cans, which is a chemical that has been linked to various health issues, including reproductive problems, behavioral changes, and certain types of cancer. While there is ongoing debate about the safety of BPA, it's wise to exercise caution, especially when it comes to the health of our older population. Now, remember, this isn't a blanket recommendation to avoid all canned vegetables. After all, they do provide a source of essential nutrients that may be lacking in our diets. But for seniors, it's crucial to read labels, choose options with minimal sodium and BPA, and complement canned vegetables with fresh produce whenever possible. Our bodies may not be able to process and eliminate sodium as efficiently as they used to, and we might be more susceptible to the effects of chemical exposure. So by making informed choices and understanding the potential risks, we can ensure that our golden years are filled with good health and well-being. 7. Canned chili, macaroni and cheese, ravioli, spaghetti and meatballs, pasta, fagioli. For many of us, canned soups and pasta dishes are a staple of comfort food. They evoke memories of cozy meals and simpler times. But as we step into our senior years, it's crucial to take a closer look at these seemingly comforting cans and understand what they might be doing to our bodies. First and foremost, let's address the elephant in the room: Sodium. Canned soups and pasta dishes are notorious for their sky-high sodium content. We're talking hundreds to even thousands of milligrams per serving. For someone with high blood pressure, heart disease, or kidney problems, that's a recipe for disaster. Excess sodium can lead to fluid retention, swelling, and a host of other health issues. In fact, studies have shown that consuming large amounts of sodium can increase the risk of stomach cancer. This is a risk we don't need to take, especially when there are plenty of delicious and nutritious alternatives. Canned soups and pasta sauces often contain refined carbohydrates. These carbs lack fiber and essential nutrients and can cause rapid spikes in blood sugar levels. This can be particularly dangerous for seniors with diabetes or those at risk of developing the condition. Additionally, the combination of high carbs and sodium can contribute to obesity, which increases the risk of heart disease and stroke. And then there's the issue of additives. To enhance flavor, texture, and shelf life, manufacturers often turn to artificial preservatives, colors, and thickeners. While these substances might not seem like a big deal for some, they can pose health risks, especially for our aging population. These additives can lead to digestive issues, allergic reactions, and even worsen existing health conditions. It's vital to remember that our bodies change as we age, and what might be fine for a younger person could have detrimental effects on a senior. By understanding these potential risks, we can make better choices for ourselves and our loved ones. Instead of reaching for that can of soup, consider preparing a fresh minestrone or lentil soup. There are 3. Canned soup. Let's turn to another pantry staple that many of us rely on, especially on cold days or when we don't feel like cooking. Canned soup. It feels comforting, quick, and familiar. But for seniors, I want you to look beyond that warm bowl and see the hidden risks that come with it. The first problem is sodium. A single half-cup serving of condensed tomato soup contains nearly 480 milligrams of sodium, and let us be honest, no one eats just half a cup. A full bowl can push you well over 1,000 milligrams in one sitting. For chicken noodle or beef soups, the numbers climb even higher, often 600 to 900 milligrams per serving. For someone managing high blood pressure or heart disease, that is almost an entire day's sodium allowance in one meal. Over time, these hidden salt loads make it harder for your heart, kidneys, and medications to keep you stable. Reduced sodium labels can be misleading. By law, that only means 25% less than the regular version. So a soup with 900 milligrams of sodium still ends up around 675 milligrams. That's still far too high. Some brands replace sodium with potassium chloride, which can be dangerous for people with kidney disease or those taking certain heart or blood pressure medications. What sounds like a healthier option can, in fact, put you at risk of irregular heart rhythms. Then there's the safety of the can itself. For decades, soup cans were lined with BPA-based epoxy. Europe has already slashed its safe exposure limits to near zero and moved toward banning BPA outright in food packaging. In the US, the FDA still allows it, and many so-called BPA-free cans use chemical cousins like BPF or BPF that may carry similar hormone-disrupting effects. For seniors who have already battled cancer, diabetes, or heart problems, these exposures are not trivial. Finally, we cannot forget botulism risk. Soups like chicken noodle, cream of mushroom, or beef stew are classified as low-acid canned foods. If the sterilization process during manufacturing is not perfect, spores of Clostridium botulinum can survive. You will not smell it. You will not taste it. That's why health authorities stress, if a can is bulging, leaking, or spurting, don't risk it. Throw it away. So what can you do instead? If you enjoy soup, consider making a simple homemade version with fresh or frozen vegetables, beans, and low-sodium broth. Or, if you must use canned soup, choose brands labeled low-sodium 140 milligrams or less per serving. Add fresh ingredients and dilute with water to reduce the salt concentration. Canned soup may seem like comfort in a bowl, but for seniors, it can quietly undermine the very health we're trying to protect. With a few smart choices, you can still enjoy the warmth of soup without the silent dangers hidden inside the can. Now, let's move on to the next point. A few weeks ago, I discussed the surprising dangers lurking in beloved childhood treats, everything from classic cereals to sweet tea. Today, our investigation deepens as we shift our focus to another household favorite that often flies under the radar: canned soup. Many of us turn to soup when life gets busy, seeking solace in a warm bowl of comfort. However, this seemingly wholesome meal can harbor more than just calories and carbs. As we dig deeper, we uncover some unsettling truths about canned soup that might make you reconsider this convenient choice. But before we dive into this, please take a moment to support our work. Your support helps us continue uncovering important food industry secrets. Now, let's explore the murky depths of the canned soup industry together. Can you believe that a simple can of soup could pack a punch with almost 1,000 milligrams of sodium? That's more than half of the recommended daily intake for adults. And let's face it, most of us don't eat just a half cup of soup. We finish the whole can. Imagine having nearly 2/3 of your daily sodium limit in just one meal. Over time, this can wreak havoc on your health, especially if you're managing high blood pressure or heart disease. But hold on, because there's more. Some brands try to be clever by replacing sodium with potassium chloride. Sounds like a healthier swap, right? Or not exactly. This can be dangerous for folks with kidney disease, or those taking certain medications for heart or blood pressure issues. It's like playing a dangerous game with your health. Just when you think you're making a safer choice, it can backfire. And let's not forget about the cans themselves. For years, soup cans were lined with an epoxy containing BPA, a chemical that can disrupt hormones. While the European Union has banned BPA in food packaging, the US Food and Drug Administration still allows its use. Even those BPA-free cans you see may use similar chemicals like BPF or BPF, which have been linked to hormonal disruption. These sneaky substitutes might sound harmless, but they can pose risks, especially for seniors who are already dealing with health issues like diabetes or heart problems. And then there's the unsettling issue of botulism. Soups, especially those with ingredients like chicken noodle, cream of mushroom or beef stew, fall into a tricky category. They're locid canned foods, which means if the sterilization process isn't perfect, it could allow Clostridium botulinum spores to survive. Here's the scary part. You wouldn't notice anything off about the food, but that means that every now and then you need to check your cans. Look out for bulging, leaking, or spurting cans. Don't take the risk. Throw them away. It's a small price to pay for your health and well-being. And here's something else you should know. Labels saying reduced sodium or low sodium can be deceiving. By law, they just mean the soup has 25% less sodium than the regular version. So even those lower sodium options can still pack a whopping 675 milligrams of sodium per serving. That's still way too much for many people. To make matters worse, some brands try to hide excessive sodium levels by adding ingredients like maltodextrin or dextrose, which are essentially added sugars. It's like they're trying to mask the salty taste without providing any real nutritional value. And here's another trick they use. The same goes for those fancy healthy soups made with coconut milk. They may seem like a lighter, more wholesome alternative, but they can also be loaded with sodium. One can of minestrone soup with beans and coconut milk can have a shocking 1,200 milligrams of sodium. That's more than what many people should consume in an entire day. And don't get me started on the misleading labels. You know, those 97% fat-free or 90% fat-reduced claims. Yeah, they're not what they seem. According to federal regulations, a food can be labeled fat-free if it contains less than 0.5 grams of fat per serving. So basically, these soups are just hiding the fact that they mostly water and sodium with a few veggies thrown in. Can you believe that? And let's not forget about the thicker, creamier soups like bisques and chowders. They may be extra filling, but they also tend to be extra high in calories, fat and sodium. And the sneaky part is, they usually don't fill you up for the amount of calories you're getting. Before you know it, you've had half the can and you're still hungry. Plus, they're often loaded with butter or cream, which can be hard to digest and leave you feeling even heavier. And don't even get me started on those light versions of creamy soups. They may sound like a healthier option, but they're usually loaded with sodium and other additives. It's like they're trying to trick you into thinking you're making a smart choice when you're not. The bottom line is this. Be cautious. Don't fall for the clever marketing tactics of the soup industry. Read labels, be aware of the hidden sodium, and opt for fresh homemade soups whenever possible. Your health is worth it. For many of us, soup conjures up images of our childhood, a comforting bowl of goodness shared with family and friends. But as we age, it's essential to be aware of the potential pitfalls that come with this seemingly wholesome dish. From sky-high sodium levels to the questionable safety of canned goods, we've peeled back the layers of our beloved soup, revealing both the warmth and the hidden dangers it brings. Now it's time to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the dark side of soup? Have you ever encountered any of these issues? Share your experiences and insights in the comments below. Together, we can navigate the complex world of food, making healthier choices and advocating for a better future. Don't forget to stay tuned for more eye-opening revelations. And thank you for being a part of our community. Until next time, stay well and keep exploring the truth behind the food we eat. 1. Flavored creamer. While many seniors start their day with coffee, tea or hot cocoa, be careful of seemingly innocent additions like flavored creamers. Now many of these little boxes promise rich, decadent flavors without much sugar, making them seem like a guilt-free way to jazz up your beverage. But for older adults, they can be a surprising dietary foe. The biggest problem is that liquid creamers often contain a form of alcohol called propylene glycol. Your body can't fully metabolize this substance, so drinking large amounts of creamer can build up propylene glycol in your bloodstream. This leads to a condition called antifreeze syndrome, where the body's internal fluid balance gets dangerously out of whack. Symptoms include nausea, seizures, and even kidney failure. What's alarming is that many people unknowingly consume excessive amounts of propylene glycol through heavily creamer-laden coffee. Studies reveal that a typical serving of some popular coffee creamers contains around 2.5 to 3.5 grams of this chemical. That might not sound like much, but according to toxicity data, ingesting just 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight can make adults seriously ill. For an average adult weighing 68 kilograms, that works out to around 10 grams of propylene glycol, meaning going overboard on creamer can quickly tip the scales towards illness. Unfortunately, many seniors may unknowingly consume far more than the recommended limits. A typical coffee with 3 or 4 spoonfuls of creamer could easily push people over the edge. However, it's crucial to note that this risk primarily applies to liquid creamers. Dry creamers usually don't contain propylene glycol and pose no such threat. But even dry creamers present other issues. They typically include maltodextrin, a starch-based filler that adds unnecessary carbohydrates to your diet. Over time, this can contribute to weight gain, inflammation, and increased risks of chronic conditions like diabetes. Here are some options to consider. Instead of creamers, opt for natural milk, half and half, or even light cream, which contain less processed ingredients and won't overwhelm your system with fillers or problematic chemicals. If you crave variety, try using real vanilla extract or peppermint extract for flavor, instead of relying on chemical-laden creamers. For those who prefer non-dairy options, unsweetened almond milk or oat milk can provide creamy texture and subtle flavors without the harsh additives. Or spice up your beverages with natural flavorings like cinnamon, nutmeg, or cardamom. Not only do these alternatives taste delicious, but they also harness the power of antioxidants and nutrients naturally found in whole foods. Remember, it's not about completely eliminating flavorful additions to your morning routine. It's about being mindful of what we put into our bodies and ensuring that those little boxes and packets don't secretly undermine our health. 2. Granola bars. While many of us view granola bars as wholesome snacks, for older adults, they can pack some unexpected dietary pitfalls. On the surface, these chewy, crunchy bars seem like nutritious go-tos with oats, nuts, and seeds that promise energy and fiber. However, for seniors, the mix of ingredients in many granola bars can cause some not-so-great effects. First, there's the sodium overload. One study found that some granola bars contain as much as 50% of your daily sodium needs in just one bar. That's a recipe for dehydration and high blood pressure spikes, which can strain the heart, especially in older adults already managing cardiovascular conditions. Second, watch out for hidden sugars. Some granola bars may seem healthy with names like Blueberry Delight or Apple Cinnamon, but they can pack the sweetness of candy bars. Ingredients like brown sugar, honey, and dried fruit add a hefty amount of sugar. For instance, one study analyzed popular granola bars and discovered that one bar could have anywhere from 15 to 34 grams of added sugar. That's equivalent to 4 to 9 teaspoons of sugar in a single snack. Excessive sugar intake can lead to unhealthy weight gain, worsened blood sugar control for diabetics, and increased risks of chronic diseases. Third, the ingredients can be hard to digest. Granola bars often combine tough-to-break-down components like whole grains, nuts and seeds. For older adults dealing with digestive issues, this can slow down nutrient absorption and cause discomfort. In fact, some individuals over 65 may experience symptoms like bloating, constipation or diarrhea after consuming granola bars. 4. Canned chili. Another canned food that seems hearty and convenient is canned chili. It looks like a full meal in a can. Beans, meat, and spices all ready to heat and eat. But for seniors, this shortcut often comes with significant health risks. The first danger is botulism. Chili is classified as a lacid canned food, which means it requires extremely high temperatures and precise sterilization during processing. If that process is off, even slightly, Clostridium botulinum spores can survive. Once sealed, the can becomes the perfect environment for toxin production. This isn't just theory. In 2007, underprocessed chili led to one of the most serious botulism outbreaks in the US, with recalls and hospitalizations. Remember, botulism has no warning signs. You cannot smell it, see it, or taste it. Next, there's the sodium overload. 1 cup of canned chili with beans often contains around 1,000 milligrams of sodium. If you eat the entire can, which many people do, you may consume close to half of your daily sodium limit in a single meal. For someone with high blood pressure, heart disease, or kidney problems, that spike puts an enormous strain on your body. Reduced sodium chili isn't always safer. Many brands replace salt with potassium chloride, which can be dangerous for older adults on ACE inhibitors, ARBs, or potassium-sparing diuretics. High potassium hyperkalemia can trigger irregular heart rhythms without warning. Then come the phosphates. These additives are used to keep the meat in chili tender and springy. But phosphates are highly absorbable forms of phosphorus, which place extra stress on kidneys, stiffen arteries, and weaken bones over time. For seniors already at risk of kidney disease or osteoporosis, this is especially concerning. Finally, the can lining remains a hidden hazard. Chili is often acidic and fatty, which increases the chance of chemicals like BPA or its substitutes BPF leaching into the food. While the FDA still claims current levels are safe, European regulators have taken a far stricter stance, cutting allowable levels down to nearly zero. So while canned chili may look like a quick, comforting meal, for older adults it's a cocktail of risks. Botulism if processing fails, sodium overload, hidden potassium swaps, kidney-stressing phosphates, and questionable chemicals from the can itself. My advice: if you enjoy chili, try making it fresh at home with beans, lean ground meat, and vegetables. Freeze small portions for convenience, and season it lightly with herbs instead of salt. That way, you still get the warmth and flavor of chili without gambling with your health. 7 surprising everyday foods that can harm your health. Did you know that some common foods that we enjoy every day can actually harm our health? Today, we're going to explore 7 surprising foods that can negatively impact your well-being. But wait, before we dive in, please subscribe to stay updated with more health insights. No. 1. Canned tomatoes. Tomatoes are undeniably versatile and delicious. They're a staple in kitchens worldwide, adding flavor and a pop of color to countless dishes. But when it comes to canned tomatoes, it's important for your health to be aware of a few potential drawbacks. First off, canned tomatoes are typically cooked and processed, which can reduce their nutritional content compared to fresh ones. During the canning process, some vitamins, particularly vitamin C, can be lost due to heat exposure. Secondly, the acidity of tomatoes can cause the migration of certain chemicals from the can lining into the food. This is especially true for cans with an epoxy resin lining, which may contain bisphenol A or BPA. BPA is an industrial chemical used to make certain plastics and resins, including the epoxy resin used in many canned goods. While BPA has been approved by regulatory agencies like the FDA for use in food packaging, there are concerns regarding its potential health effects. Studies have suggested that BPA can mimic estrogen in the body and disrupt hormonal balance, potentially affecting reproductive health, brain development, and metabolism. Exposure to BPA has also been linked to an increased risk of certain conditions such as cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and even certain types of cancer. Although the levels of BPA found in canned tomatoes are generally low, it's important to consider the cumulative effects of BPA exposure from various sources. Regular consumption of canned tomatoes may contribute to the overall BPA intake, which could potentially increase the risk of developing health problems associated with BPA over time. However, it's worth noting that the research on the health effects of BPA is still evolving, and there is ongoing debate regarding the significance of low-level BPA exposure as a precautionary measure. Individuals who are concerned about BPA exposure may opt to choose fresh tomatoes or purchase canned tomatoes labeled as BPA-free. Number 2. Canned fruits packed in heavy syrup. Let's talk about canned fruits, particularly those packed in heavy syrup. While canned fruits offer a convenient and affordable way to enjoy fruits year-round, it's crucial to be mindful of the syrup they're packed in. When fruits are canned in a heavy syrup, they're typically submerged in a sweet and sticky liquid made of added sugars like glucose syrup, corn syrup, or other similar sweeteners. This syrup not only adds unnecessary calories to the fruit, but also contributes to a host of potential health concerns. Consuming excessive amounts of added sugars, particularly from sources like glucose syrup and corn syrup, has been linked to weight gain and obesity. These types of sugars are quickly absorbed into the bloodstream, causing rapid spikes in blood sugar levels. Over time, consistently high blood sugar levels can lead to insulin resistance and increase the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Furthermore, the excessive sugar intake associated with syrup-packed canned fruits can contribute to the formation of visceral fat, which is the fat that accumulates around internal organs. This type of fat is particularly harmful as it can disrupt hormonal balance, promote inflammation, and increase the risk of various chronic conditions, including heart disease and certain types of cancer. No. 3. Canned soups. Canned soups may seem like a quick and easy meal option, but they often pack a hidden punch of sodium. One can of soup can contain anywhere from 600 to 1,400 milligrams of sodium, which is a significant portion of the daily recommended intake for most adults. Consuming too much sodium can lead to dehydration, high blood pressure, and an increased risk of heart disease and stroke. In fact, studies have shown a positive association between high dietary sodium intake and the risk of cardiovascular disease and mortality. But it's not just the sodium content. Canned soups often contain other ingredients that may not be the best choices for your health. Many of them are loaded with refined carbohydrates, which can cause blood sugar spikes and contribute to weight gain and increased risk of type 2 diabetes. Additionally, some canned soups may contain trans fats, which are known to raise bad cholesterol levels and increase the risk of heart disease. Trans fats are typically found in soups that list partially hydrogenated oils in the ingredient list. These ingredients are often used to extend the shelf life of the soup and enhance its flavor and texture. Number 4. Canned vegetables with added salt. Vegetables are essential for a healthy diet, providing essential vitamins, minerals, and fiber. However, not all vegetables are created equal. Canned vegetables, especially those with added salt, may not be the best choice for your health. When vegetables are canned, they undergo a process of cooking and preserving to extend their shelf life. Unfortunately, this process often involves adding sodium or salt to the vegetables to enhance their flavor and prevent the growth of harmful bacteria. Consuming vegetables with added salt can lead to an excessive intake of sodium, which can have several negative effects on your health. First and foremost, consuming too much sodium can cause dehydration. This is because the body will excrete water in an attempt to eliminate the excess salt, leading to water loss and dehydration. Additionally, high sodium intake has been linked to an increased risk of high blood pressure, heart disease, and stroke. Salt, particularly sodium, is notorious for its blood pressure-raising abilities. When you consume salty foods, your body retains water, increasing blood volume. This can put extra pressure on your arteries, contributing to high blood pressure over time. High blood pressure can damage the walls of arteries, making them more prone to plaque buildup and increasing the risk of heart disease and stroke. Furthermore, canned vegetables with added salt may not be the best choice for individuals with kidney problems. The kidneys play a crucial role in balancing fluids and electrolytes in the body. However, if you have kidney disease, your kidneys may not be able to effectively eliminate excess salt and water, leading to further complications. Number 5. Canned meats and seafood. Canned meats and seafood can be convenient and affordable options for many people. However, it's important to be aware of some potential drawbacks associated with these canned products. One major concern is the sodium content. Canned meats and seafood are often packed in a brine or sauce that contains high levels of sodium to preserve the food and enhance its flavor. Consuming too much sodium can lead to dehydration, high blood pressure, and an increased risk of heart disease and stroke. In fact, studies have shown a positive association between high dietary sodium intake and the risk of cardiovascular disease and mortality. Additionally, canned meats and seafood may contain other additives and ingredients that can affect your health. For example, some canned fish are packed in soybean oil or canola oil, which are high in omega-6 fatty acids. While omega-6 fatty acids are essential for the body, consuming excessive amounts of certain types of omega-6, particularly from processed sources, has been linked to inflammation and an increased risk of chronic conditions such as heart disease and arthritis. Furthermore, some canned meats such as canned chicken or tuna may contain additives like azodicarbonamide, also known as the yoga mat chemical. This chemical is used as a dough conditioner in the food industry and has been linked to respiratory problems, particularly in individuals with asthma. While its use is still allowed in certain food products, it's important to read labels and avoid products that contain it if you have concerns about its potential effects on your health. Number 6. Canned spinach. Spinach has long been celebrated as a superfood due to its high nutritional content. It is packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that offer numerous health benefits. However, when it comes to canned spinach, it's important to be aware of some potential drawbacks. First and foremost, canned spinach may contain heavy metals, such as cadmium. Cadmium is a toxic metal that can accumulate in the body over time, leading to kidney damage and other health issues. Spinach naturally absorbs cadmium from the soil, and unfortunately, canning does not remove this heavy metal. As a result, regular consumption of canned spinach, especially in large quantities, may increase your exposure to cadmium and potentially harm your kidneys. Additionally, canned spinach is often packed in a sodium-based brine or sauce to preserve it. Excessive sodium intake can lead to dehydration, high blood pressure, and an increased risk of heart disease and stroke. Studies have shown a positive association between high dietary sodium intake and the risk of cardiovascular disease and mortality. For individuals with kidney disease or those on blood pressure medication, consuming canned spinach with high sodium levels can exacerbate these conditions. Furthermore, spinach is a high source of oxalates, which are compounds that can contribute to kidney stones. Kidney stones are painful deposits that form in the kidneys and can cause severe discomfort and complications. If you have a history of kidney stones, consuming large amounts of canned spinach may increase your risk of developing new stones or worsening existing ones. Number 7. Canned pasta. Canned pasta may seem like a convenient and comforting option, but it's important to be aware of the potential downsides associated with these canned delights. First and foremost, canned pasta typically has high levels of sodium. Sodium is essential for the body, but consuming too much of it can lead to dehydration, high blood pressure, and an increased risk of heart disease and stroke. Studies have shown a positive association between high dietary sodium intake and the risk of cardiovascular disease and mortality. Canned pasta, particularly the varieties with sauces or gravies, often contain added sugars. Excessive sugar intake can contribute to weight gain, obesity, and an increased risk of type 2 diabetes. Consuming canned pasta regularly may lead to an overall higher carbohydrate intake, which can cause blood sugar spikes and contribute to weight gain. Additionally, some canned pastas may contain trans fats, which are harmful types of unsaturated fats that have been linked to an increased risk of heart disease and inflammation. Trans fats are often found in the sauces or gravies used in canned pasta products and are typically added to enhance flavor and prolong shelf life. Furthermore, the manufacturing process of canned pasta may introduce BPA or its chemical substitutes into the food. BPA, or bisphenol A, is an industrial chemical used in the production of certain plastics and resins, including the epoxy resin that lines many metal products such as canned goods. Exposure to BPA has been linked to various health concerns, including reproductive problems, behavioral issues, and an increased risk of certain types of cancer. While the levels of BPA in canned pasta may be low, it's important to consider the cumulative effects of BPA exposure from various sources. Thank you for joining us today. Please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. We value your input and would love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe to stay updated with our latest health insights. Stay healthy, Stay informed and take care. Today we're going to talk about two safe choices: canned beans and canned tomatoes. I think it's important to point out there are many canned foods that should never touch your lips, especially as you age. However, today we're going to focus on the positive side, to canned foods that are safe, nutritious, and easy to prepare. So let's talk about them. One is canned beans, the other is canned tomatoes. Let's start with canned beans. If you have access to fresh or frozen beans, that's great. Go for those. But if you really like me and you live in an area where fresh beans aren't available year-round, or maybe you don't have the means to cook and freeze them ahead, then canned beans are your next best option. There are several varieties of canned beans, including black beans, pinto beans, navy beans, cannellini beans, chickpeas, and lentils. Some people may shy away from beans because they cause gas and bloating. But the truth is, they're packed with nutrients that most Americans don't get enough of, especially as they age. Beans are an excellent source of plant-based protein, fiber, potassium, and folate. Just half a cup of beans can deliver 7 to 9 grams of protein and 6 to 9 grams of fiber. That combination not only helps keep you full, but also lowers cholesterol, steadies blood sugar, and supports healthy digestion. For older adults concerned about heart disease or diabetes, beans are a nutritional powerhouse. Navy beans and Great Northern beans are almost pure protein. Black beans, pinto beans, and fava beans are richer in fat, but that fat is mostly heart-healthy, unsaturated fat. Kidney beans are high in antioxidants and fiber and may help fight inflammation. Chickpeas and lentils are high in protein and fiber and can help lower cholesterol. We know that as we age, our bodies require less calories and become more sensitive to sodium. Well, beans can help us with both of these challenges. According to the Dietary Guidelines for Americans, adults aged 50 and older should aim for no more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day. Well, one thing to know about beans is that they are naturally low in sodium. Most canned beans have between 50 and 180 milligrams of sodium per serving. However, this is before you add salt, so you always want to check the labels on your canned beans. If you see low sodium or no salt added by those varieties, some of the biggest offenders include pintos, navy beans, butter, lima beans, black beans, and garbanzo beans, which may contain as much as 400 milligrams of sodium per serving. But here's the good news. A quick rinse under running water can wash away between 1/3 and nearly half of that sodium instantly. So what should you do? Well, my advice: drain and rinse beans before using them. It's a simple habit that makes canned beans a safe, heart-friendly choice. If you're looking for something simple to prepare, canned beans are hard to beat. Keep them in your kitchen. Rinse them before eating. Choose low sodium or no salt added, when possible, and store them in a cool, dry place. And yes, while the inside of the can is safe, the lining of most cans is coated with BPA, which can leach into food and make its way into your body. So why not take extra precautions? Well, most major brands now use BPA-NI, not intentionally added linings, which reduces exposure to harmful chemicals. And if you want to go a step further, you can buy beans packaged in cartons or glass jars. Here are some simple ways to use canned beans in your daily meals. Add them to soups or stews. Mash them with a little butter or olive oil and use them to make delicious spreads. Toss them into salads for extra protein and fiber, or mix them into chili. They're inexpensive, versatile, and nourishing. Remember, beans are one of the rare canned foods that truly give more than they take, offering affordable nutrition and safety in a single, simple can. Now, let's move on to the second food that's generally safe for all ages, especially as you age: canned tomatoes. When it comes to canned tomatoes, it's important to choose wisely. Avoid the ones packed in a salt or brine solution. Instead, look for tomatoes packed in water or their own juices. Why is that? Well, it's because tomatoes are acidic foods, meaning they have a pH level of 4.5 or lower, which creates an unfavorable environment for harmful bacteria like Clostridium botulism to grow. But that doesn't mean they're completely foolproof. There have been rare cases of botulism being found in home canned tomatoes. To reduce your risk, you can buy canned tomatoes that have been commercially processed. These tomatoes undergo a sterilization process called retort processing. During retort processing, the cans are heated to temperatures that kill any potential bacteria. While canned tomatoes do lose some nutrients during the processing, they still retain significant amounts of vitamins A, C, K, and potassium. Plus, they're typically lower in sodium compared to many other canned goods. On average, a cup of canned tomatoes contains around 250 milligrams of sodium. Whole peeled tomatoes tend to be lower in sodium compared to diced tomatoes. You can easily cut down on sodium by rinsing canned tomatoes before using them. Just a quick rinse can remove up to 30% of the sodium. Tomatoes are a true nutritional powerhouse, packed with lycopene, an antioxidant that gives them their vibrant red color. Lycopene has been linked to numerous health benefits, including reduced risk of certain cancers, heart disease, and age-related cognitive decline. Interestingly, our bodies absorb lycopene better from cooked or processed tomatoes, like canned tomatoes. So here's a simple tip for getting the most out of your canned tomatoes. Heat them before serving. By heating them, you help your body absorb more lycopene. I recommend gently heating them on the stove or in the microwave. This not only increases nutrient absorption, but also enhances their flavor. You can use canned tomatoes in many dishes, such as sauces, stews, chilies, soups, or even salads. And for those who love spicy food, try adding a pinch of cayenne pepper or a dash of hot sauce to your heated tomatoes for a simple yet zesty treat. Canned tomatoes are incredibly versatile and affordable, making them a fantastic addition to any pantry. Just remember to choose low-sodium options. Rinse them before using and heat them before serving to maximize both nutrition and taste. Well, friends, that's all the time we have today. Until next time, stay strong, eat well, and keep moving. Today we're talking about 2 canned foods that are safe and good for seniors. These are the kinds of canned foods that you may already have in your kitchen. And I will warn you, one of these is probably not what you would expect, but stay tuned. I'm going to tell you exactly what to look for, why it's safe and nutritious, and even some tips on how to make it healthier. So if you're ready to discover the surprisingly good world of shelf-stable nutrition, stick around. Let's dive into my list. At No. 2, I've got a surprise for you. It's a canned food that might seem out of place among the other low-sodium soups, veggies and fruits. Drumroll please. Canned tomatoes. Now hold on, I know what you're thinking. Tomatoes? Really? What's so great about them? Well, let me explain. Tomatoes are a high acid food, which means they naturally prevent the growth of harmful bacteria like Clostridium botulinum, which causes botulism. That's pretty serious stuff. The acidity is often given a little boost by adding a small amount of citric acid during the canning process. When combined with the high temperatures involved in canning, this makes canned tomatoes one of the safest shelf-stable foods out there. Nutritionally, they're loaded with lycopene, an antioxidant that gives tomatoes their red color and does some pretty amazing things for our bodies. Studies show that lycopene helps protect our heart and blood vessels. Here's the kicker though. The heating process during canning actually makes that lycopene more bioavailable, meaning your body can absorb it more easily than from raw tomatoes. Plus, add a little olive oil when cooking with them, and the absorption goes up even more. Talk about a win-win. For seniors focused on heart health, vision, and even cancer prevention, lycopene is a powerful ally. Now I know you might be picturing canned tomatoes in chili or spaghetti sauce, but don't stop there. They can do wonders in soups, stews, shakshuka, or as a base for a quick salsa. You can even blend them into smoothies for a nutrient-rich kick. Pretty versatile for something that's as easy to store as a can of tomatoes. Of course, not all tomato products are created equal. Some are loaded with salt, which can be tough on the kidneys and raise blood pressure, especially in seniors. The solution is simple. Look for no salt added, or low sodium labels. Then you can season your dishes with fresh herbs or spices instead. This way you get the taste you love, without all the extra salt. As with any canned goods, there's always the question of those can linings. The acidity of tomatoes can sometimes pull in chemicals like BPA from traditional epoxy linings. But here's some good news. Many major brands have switched to BPA-free or BPA-NI, not intentionally added linings. That doesn't mean you can't be cautious. It's still smart to store cans in a cool, dry place, and not in hot garages. If you'd rather be extra careful, or if BPA is a special concern for you, remember, tomatoes also come in cartons or glass jars. Look for them at your local grocery store. All things considered, canned tomatoes are a fantastic option for seniors. They're inexpensive, keep well, and open up a world of culinary possibilities, not to mention their natural goodness. Give them a try. Your taste buds and your health will thank you. Okay, so canned tomatoes might not be the first thing you think of as a health food, but they really pack a punch. Now, let's talk about the first canned food on my list, one that might surprise you even more. At No. 1, I'm putting canned sardines. Now before you wrinkle your nose, hear me out. I'll admit, sardines aren't the most glamorous of foods, but boy do they pack a nutritional punch. First off, they're a complete protein, meaning they have all the essential amino acids your body needs. This is a big deal for seniors who might need a little extra protein in their diet. But that's not all. They're also loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, which are great for heart health, brain function, and fighting inflammation. Not to mention they're an excellent source of calcium, vitamin D, and B vitamins. Okay, you've got me convinced. But how are they safe for seniors? Great question, since they're a low-water activity food, meaning they have less than 60% water. Sardines are naturally low in moisture, which inhibits the growth of harmful bacteria. During the canning process, they undergo a gentle cooking, which further ensures safety. Now you might be wondering about those pesky bones. Yes, they're edible, but if you prefer a softer texture, you can always crack the bones or mash the sardines with a fork. When it comes to flavor, sardines offer a unique taste that's often compared to a stronger, more intense version of tuna. They can be enjoyed straight from the can with a drizzle of olive oil, mixed into salads, or even used as a topping for toast or crackers. For a little variety, try different flavors like peppered, lemon, or mustard sardines. If you're concerned about the mercury levels found in some fish, rest assured that sardines typically have much lower levels than larger, longer-lived fish. Or you can choose sardines packed in water instead of oil for an even healthier option. A final word on sardines. Some folks worry about their small size and thin skin tearing during the canning process, potentially letting in harmful bacteria. But when done right, the canning process ensures the safety of this tiny fish. It's not for everyone, but for those who can stomach it, sardines are a true nutritional powerhouse, offering a unique combination of flavor and health benefits that are hard to beat. Give them a try. Your body will be glad you did. So there you have it. 2 canned foods that are not only safe for seniors, but actually good for them. Remember, quality ingredients and proper preparation are key to enjoying these foods at any age. And hey, if you're still open-minded about giving sardines a try, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And while you're at it, tell us what canned food you turn to for a quick, healthy meal. We're always looking for inspiration, too. Thanks for joining me today. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Stay healthy, my friends.